And joining us now on the Medi-Share guest line is ACC Network and ESPN college football analyst Mac Lain. He's a former Clemson captain and offensive lineman. He joined the ACC Network in 2019 and played at Clemson from 2011 to 2015, where the Tigers won 2 conference championships and made a national championship appearance. Eric, it's great to have you back on Unpacking It. How are you?
Man, I'm just living the dream. It's championship week, man, in the ACC and across the country. So a big-time week, and I'm loving the setup, man. This looks fantastic. You guys are killing it.
Man, well, I appreciate it. I needed a Clemson item in here, so we'll have to.
Well, I can take care of you. I can take care of you. Don't worry about that.
That's right. So we'll try to make that happen. But the crazy thing is, we got the ACC Championship this weekend in Charlotte, where I am. But no Clemson this year, so it's a little bit different. But we've got this unique matchup with Pittsburgh and Wake. I mean, who would have thought? What are you most excited about regarding this matchup, and kind of what are your thoughts on just how surprising it is that these two teams are here?
Yeah, well, for starters, I don't think anybody. I think there's only one person that had Pittsburgh winning that side of the division out of like 40 people. So it's amazing that someone got that right, and then on the Atlantic side. I think it was unanimous Clemson. So it's crazy to look at, but this is what we've been calling for, right? Across college football is, man, it's the same old teams. It's so boring. That's all we get. Well, now, I mean, throughout college football, I mean, you look at Oklahoma, not going to be in their championship. Ohio State, not going to be in their championship. And now Clemson, it's bonkers. It truly is, but it just goes to show you how great college football is. It's the best sport in all of the world. And it's so fun to watch each and every Saturday. And now when you look at this matchup between Pitt and Wake Forest, 2 dynamic offenses, both averaging right about 43 points per game. So you just hope that translates and we get fireworks and a fantastic game because, man, those 2 teams can light it up. And a couple of great quarterbacks, Kenny Pickett for Pittsburgh, who I think is the best quarterback in the country. He's been so consistent. His game is just – he's taken it to a place that I don't think anybody thought he could. I mean, he's thrown more touchdowns this year than he has when you add up every other year of his career together. So he's taken his game to another level, and it's been so fun to watch it happen.
So with these 2 teams in the championship, does it say more about their 2 programs or the state of the ACC? Because to me, as someone who I'm a Charlotte guy, I'm an ACC guy. This is it's mind-boggling that these are the 2 teams. So I'm just wondering what does this mean moving forward, I guess?
Yeah, someone asked me the question. They said, is it good for the ACC that this has happened? And I think the common sense answer is no, it's not good for Clemson to be down. But yes, it's good for other teams to be up. And so when you look at it that way, if Clemson has to be, the quote unquote sacrificial lamb for a year, then that's what it is. And these teams, have just been really, really solid this year. Now, we, of course, know, Clemson handled Wake readily and was able to do the things that they needed. But that was the only loss that Wake Forest has on their schedule in conference. So it's something that it's interesting to look at. When you take it that way, but I don't think there's any question the Tigers will be right back next year.
Well, all right. So you're, of course, a Clemson guy, but now you're a neutral analyst with that also bleeds orange and purple. So
that's right. That's right.
So this year, somewhat of a down year, just according to their standards. 3 losses, not used to seeing that. What did you make of kind of how the season finished up for them, and then even how the fans responded to this season? What did you make of all that?
Yeah, well, it's super interesting, man, when you're on top of the mountain for so long. If there's any stumble at all, it's mass chaos. And everybody, what's wrong? What's going on? What's happening? We need to fire this coach. We need to move this coach. What's this guy doing? It is comical from my perspective, being a former player and now covering this sport the way that I do. And, man, just looking at it, I don't know. People do not know how to handle adversity, and it's so evident. And those that do are most likely going to be more successful. And you've seen Clemson this year, man. Honestly, I think this is one of Dabo Swinney's better coaching jobs that he's ever done. A team that could have just fell by the wayside after starting the season with a loss to Georgia and then coming into NC State and taking another loss there. this team's not used to that. They're not used to having multiple losses on their record. They're not definitely not used to having three. And the Tigers have only gotten better since the end of October. Since November, they're averaging 38 plus points a game. The offense has really just found out their identity, who they are, what they want to do. And I think it is interesting that in a down year, they have an opportunity to finish top 15 in the country and with 10 wins after a bowl game. So there's programs out there that certainly would take that any day of the week for their best year, not to say that it's the Tigers' down year.
See, that's why I want the expanded playoff, because there are teams like Clemson that just are playing better at the end of the year. You get them into that kind of situation, and they can make some noise. So where do you come out on the expansion?
I love it, man. I think that there's certainly a right way to do it, just because of all the examples that we've seen throughout time. I mean, there was a Georgia team, 10 years ago or so that Coach Rick was coaching that, they lost a couple of games early and then won like 11 straight. And I don't think there's any question that, if those guys got a chance, they're beating anybody in the country. But because of the two losses, they were never even in contention for the BCS. So would love to see, really what this thing could look like. I think you have to take a couple of games away. You take away some of these FCS, these, just not so much matter games, and just do it on the back end. You've got a really good product. And I think that's where we're trending. And it's going to be exciting to see how we're taking the best product on the field and we're going to make it just a little bit better.
So I when I was at App State, we were an FCS school. So I'm fine taking those games away, because now App can remain that go-to
That's
upset.
Right.
So take those games away. I'm okay with that.
That's right. That's right.
All right. So this week, the big topic, of course, we're excited about the games this weekend, but throughout the week, being able to talk about all these coaching changes and just the crazy coaching carousel. It's moment by moment, reading through the rumors and all that's going on. So I want to ask you about this, but I want you to look at it from three different perspectives. I'm curious your opinion from three different perspectives. So first, as a former player, what do you take away from the way coaches are leaving and how they're leaving their players in many ways high and dry? So from that perspective, what have you made of what's been going on?
It's nuts to see, man. And it's been happening as long as time. I mean, this is nothing new. It is interesting how, some folks are maybe putting a little bit more emphasis on it this year than not, maybe because of the caliber of coach and program that it's happening. But this has been going on for a long time, and it is disheartening. It stinks. I can only think to imagine how you feel in that moment. A guy that you trusted, a guy that you have made a life-altering decision to go and play for and play with, decides he's just going to leave and he's going to go somewhere else. And so it's something that, at the end of the day, sure, you have to worry about yourself. And Lincoln Riley and Coach Kelly, they have to worry about their families and what's best for them and their situation. But, man, you're affecting 100+ other young men, dozens of coaches and their fans. I mean, there's a lot of repercussions with these decisions, and it's been crazy to see. The thing that hurts me the most, that gets me fired up the most, is the fact that the players learn via social media before they hear from the man himself, and I think that that's really disheartening. I think it's very telling about who you are as a person, and ultimately, it'll work out the way it does. That's all I'll say about that.
I don't even know how that happens. How does social media find out? It's just, that's a wild
agents,
aspect.
man. Agents, they're crazy people.
Agents are the ones. Okay, that's who we blame. So then the other aspect of it, just as an analyst, what fit do you like the best, or what even decision was most intriguing to you? LSU, Notre Dame, USC, and a number of others.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Coach Riley at USC is going to be very interesting. I mean, is he going to have the ability to wake up this sleeping giant that for years has been dormant, that, is a blue blood of the sport? That, are we talking playoff next year? I mean, what are we looking at with this team? And then when they have the coach and the vision and the proven success, I mean, Heisman Trophy winners, first overall draft picks. I mean, the guy oozes with success when you look at what he's been able to do, and now having some, commits already decommit from Oklahoma and going to Southern Cal as soon as, he gets there. And so it's going to be a very interesting ripple effect in the power struggle of college football to see, okay, playoff time, is USC right back in that mix? How long does it take? It's going to be very intriguing to see. And then, just really to look at the two headliners there, for a coach to leave Notre Dame, which has never, ever been done, I do not think,
Crazy.
to go to another coaching job is nuts to me. The fact that this team also might make a playoff in the next 4 days, they might be in, and they don't have a head coach. I mean, it's nuts, Bryce, to look at the decisions made. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that's the one for me that is just it really doesn't all add up until you start hearing about the contract and what he maybe wanted at Notre Dame and all that. But just but on the surface, it's that was a wild breaking news alert for sure. All right, so the third perspective, I'm wondering, just from a fan of college football. So you said, oh, it's the best sport on the planet or the world, whatever you said. But for fans that see this, that see coaches leaving, and now the transfer portal being what it is, and guys announcing, hey, we're leaving. Where does this leave fans? Do we still embrace and love the sport for what it is? And how do we adapt to the changing of the sport? Throw in realignment and some of that as well.
It depends. Am I talking to an Oklahoma fan or a Southern Cal fan? Southern Cal's jacked up. They're excited, man. They got the great end of the bargain. So I think it just comes with the territory. It just comes with the situation. I mean, I look at a school like Florida, who just signed Billy Napier. I think that is going to be a home run hire. Super excited for Coach Napier and just what he can do. So if you're Florida, you're feeling great. I mean, you're excited about it. You're excited about the opportunity to have a new leader to really get your team going in the right direction. Transfer portal, I think that we as a society and as a fan base, we're going to become more numb to it. It's just a part of it, in the day and age where there's good things, there's bad things. I as kind of personally am. I ride a fine line with the transfer portal, because I think that there certainly are situations where a coach leaves. You've been there 4 years and you just can't get on the field. You maybe get out recruited. At the end of the day, it just wasn't the right fit. It wasn't the right situation for you. I think those are all good reasons to have the opportunity to go somewhere else. You come in, you've played for a year, you're not getting enough playing time, you want to go somewhere else? That's not it. I don't think that you've given enough time to grow. I don't think you've given the opportunity for any kind of story, to be developed for yourself. And we've seen so many great ones. I'll even throw myself into that, being a guy that it took 4 years to consistently get on the field. I could have transferred as a sophomore and went, somewhere else because I wasn't getting a quote unquote fair shake, or I wasn't getting an opportunity, but I didn't. And I think it was a tremendous story and, something that I wouldn't trade for anything for the, year and a half of great playing time that I did at Clemson that, nowadays I just don't know if that story will get the opportunity to exist. And the different things that we are being taught for whatever reason, why I'm not playing, why this is happening, that there's always a greater purpose, as you and I both know. So I am saddened by the fact that we'll probably see that less and less actually happen.
Yeah. So as you think back to that season of your life, or a couple seasons there where you're waiting to play, waiting to get on the field, what did you learn during that time? What was the benefit of that time? I just saw the Kurt Warner movie, American Underdog, and he was a guy that had to wait. And, that's like the pinnacle of the underdog waiting story. But you're right, that type of story, if you just leave as soon as you're not playing, that goes away. So, but for you, what was that story like?
Yeah, I think just growing as a person, relationships that I made at Clemson during my time, found my wife there. If I would have left, I would not have, because I was certainly after and while I was kind of going through that transition and the people that I met, the lessons that you learn of adversity that you will inevitably face all throughout your life. You can't just get up and leave. You can't just get up and take your ball home in life when things happen. And so I think that, just learning that in a controlled environment that is college and college football just has helped me immensely, in life and that working hard matters. If you're not getting playing time, get recommitted, work harder, get bigger, get faster, stronger, understand the playbook better, because they're not just sitting a guy on the sideline because he's the best option. I promise you that. No coach has ever done that. And so it really just makes you take this, internal look at yourself and stand in front of that mirror and say, am I doing all that I can do to get on this field? And I think that's a very valuable lesson to learn in life with anything, everything, with your job, with your family, with raising children, with being a husband or wife. Am I doing everything I can do to be my best? And I just don't think that, their young men and women are going to really be able to fully get that story with the ease of, I'm going to just take my ball and go somewhere else.
Yeah, and then the old cliche, it's, grass is greener, and that
Right.
mentality seeps in as well, and that's not always the
Right.
truth.
That's right.
So,
And then there's certainly situations. Don't hear me. I ride this line, guys. I truly
yeah,
do, because I think it's a great tool. But I certainly think that more often than not, just people leave before they really should.
yes. No, I totally agree. When coaches, there's a bunch of reasons to transfer. Um, and even as I think, just as a regular student, I had friends that transferred different schools,
Right.
and some of them had good reasons. Some of them, it was like, man, you should have stuck it out. We had a good time. We missed you. You should have
That's right.
left. But for others, it was what they needed to do. All right, so we'll go back to football in a moment, but we're catching up after we probably had you on last year, and so always enjoy hearing what God's been doing in your life, and so as you reflect back on this year specifically, in what ways has God been working in your life, and in what ways have you been growing this year?
Yeah, man, it's been a great year. Just bouncing out of one of the toughest years of all of our lives, right? With dealing with the various things that came with coronavirus, isolation, not being able to be with friends and family, and just really a gut checking time, for a lot of us, and to for us to emerge out of that, stronger, whether that's in our faith or relationships or things of that nature. We should all be very lucky, because it certainly was a tough time, a tough situation. Kaki, my wife, and I have actually moved, so we're in a new community in Columbia, South Carolina. She got a new job down here, and man, it's been so fun to just watch her grow and watch her develop, as a businesswoman, and in this great space, because she's a great leader, and it's so fun, the different opportunities that she has been presented with, and just for me to sit back and say, go ahead, go do that, go do whatever you can, has been so much fun to watch. And just being able to really invest in a new community. Now that football season is wrapping up, we've got a little sprint here for about a month, and then after that, just for me to be able to fully lock in to this community, and to be here 7 days a week, 365 for the remainder of this year, and really just dive in is so much fun to me, for meeting new people, getting plugged in, and doing various things. So it's been a fun ride, man, and we're excited to be here.
That's awesome. So we talk a lot about community on this show, and that's a heartbeat of our ministry, and wanting to see guys engage in fellowship, and that's why we got fantasy football fellowship, and
That's right.
the unpacked lunch, and the things that we do. And so for you, going to a new part of you moved states and cities,
That's
um, say a new part of the country. You're not that far away, um, but to step into that, how important is community to your faith and your growth, and continuing to remain on track as a follower of Jesus. And I guess the encouragement maybe for listeners today that you can share is the intentionality that it takes, that it doesn't just fall into your lap type of thing.
That's right. No question. I mean, to me, I'm a wolf, man. I'm a pack animal. I love being around, different guys and gals, and going through different things together, and hearing stories, and being able to share all these different things, and to go into a new community, it can be overwhelming. You have this, I won't say a rut, but things that you're used to doing when you're in a certain place, and when that's taken away, or when you're taken away and you're in kind of a new spot, you kind of just looking around like, oh my goodness, like, what do I do? How do I do this? Where do I go? I think there's various ways to get plugged in. Certainly, a church that you find, or a couple of churches, if it takes one or two different tries, that get plugged in, you find new people, different groups that do different working, throughout the community, going to work out in gyms. I mean, I've met more people at the local YMCA that I've had 15, 30-minute conversations with, than I can remember, just walking around, that, somebody sees you and wants to talk to you. And then, you see them the next day and the next day, and you start building this, just different, support groups and friend groups, and, things of that nature, that I think that, there's times that people can be afraid of that, and people can be, scared to just, number one, reach out to somebody that they see in a gym or out on the street or at lunch or something of that nature. And then number two, to respond and to, go all out and just talk, just have a relationship with people. So would really encourage anybody, man, that it takes two to dance. And we are certainly stronger as a person with other people in our lives and community. Just, it's so important. So really excited for this next chapter, to get plugged in here and just moving forward.
That's awesome. Absolutely. I'm right there with you. I moved last summer, so tapping into a new community myself, and so I know what that's like. So that's good stuff. Well, the other thing, so you of course work for the ACC Network, and a couple months ago we had Coach Mark Richt on the show, and
Come
what
on.
an incredible guy and incredible story and encouragement. What kind of impact has he had on your life, just spending time with him and being able to work alongside him?
Yeah, man, I'm so lucky and blessed really every day to be able to work with a man like that, and a guy that has done so many things in this sport that I would love to be able to be a part of and to see the things that he has. I mean, he has forgotten more football than I'll probably have the privilege to learn and to understand, because he's done it and been around just some unbelievable programs, and then just who he is as a man. How he loves his wife, how he loves his children, the way he treats everybody, with so much respect and love. And it really reminds me a lot of my grandfather. And not to say he's old or anything of that nature, but just the way that he goes about things. I mean, everything that he does really, it really reminds me of him. And so, like I said, it's such a blessing to have such a prime example of what a man should be. The like I said, the way that he loves his wife, talks to his wife, raises his kids. It's been a very cool thing for all of us to see. Jordan Cornette, EJ Manuel, and myself, just each and every weekend. It's been a real privilege, and he's one of the absolute best. So it was funny, kind of coming into this job 3 years ago. You hear the stories, and man, he's boring, he's quiet, this is gonna be terrible, but he's hilarious, and he does his thing. He does his stories that he has, and the jokes that he tells. It's so much fun. So I've truly enjoyed these last 3 years, and so happy this year we're back together each and every weekend. It's just been so much fun.
Man, yeah, just a true inspiration, genuine faith, just the real deal from what I can gather. And so you get to be up
Yeah,
close,
no
close
question.
with them. So, yeah, it's awesome. All right, so when I was thinking about you and thinking about, all right, what's Eric all about? I can't help but think about how joyful and smiley you are, and so you're fun to be around, and you bring a presence to wherever you go. We've had you at the golf tournament over the years, and so that's always been fun. But I'm just curious, when people ask you, "Hey, why are you smiling all the time? Why are you so happy?" What's your response to that?
Yeah, man, I think it's very easy, in this life, to have a woe is me attitude, to not bring that energy, to not set a tempo, and that's something that, man, I've just, that's the way I was raised, that's the way I've grown up, and my parents, my father, specifically, just making sure that you have that attitude, and you understand that at the end of the day, you look down at your hands, you look down at your wrists, and there's no holes there. You look down at your feet, there's no holes there. Someone already paid that price for you. And so there is no bad day. There is nothing that we can go through that, is not already written, is not already done. And, that ultimate sacrifice is really been made there. And so for me, it's just, let's go have fun. Let's have a great time, and love each other and respect each other, and, really give all the energy that we can into what we're doing and get it going in a certain way. And man, I think that has helped me a lot, in just various situations that you get in, where you can help encourage people, and you can help get people going in the right direction. And when we're all doing it together, as bad as it might be, as much as it might stink, as long as we're doing it together 100 miles an hour in one direction, we can figure it out.
Amen, man. That's a powerful statement. You look down at the end of the day and go, "Oh, do I have any holes in my hand
Right.
and in my feet?" Gosh, man, that's awesome. I never heard that. That's really
Yeah.
in that way. So that's a cool uh, thought. I just got to pause there for a second and soak that in. That's really good, man. That's really good.
Yeah. The colonel brings it. He brings it every time
Yeah.
he tells you something.
Gosh, that's neat, man. Well, all right, let's we'll wrap things up here. Love having Eric on. It's a busy week for him. We got the ACC Championship coming up this weekend, along with all the other championship games. My App State Mountaineers are fighting for the Sun
That's
Belt.
right. Come on. Hey,
So,
you're playing a team without a coach too, buddy. Y'all probably feeling really good about this weekend.
well, so what was someone told me that Billy Napier was going to try to coach? Is that so? He's not. So I don't know. I don't know what they're.
I don't know if I would want him to coach, right? I mean, would you want a guy who's leaving you? I don't know. I mean, maybe one last hurrah. I don't know. It's a weird spot.
And then I saw today Bob Stoops is getting paid over $300,000 to coach one game. What a deal! What a deal!
Hey, Oklahoma, I'm available. I'll take half. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna tell you.
That's it. Absolutely. No, I wanted to ask you about one of your former teammates, Hunter Renfrow. I mean, what a year he's having. So, of course, I'm a fantasy football guy. I've got him on one of my teams. 8 catches, 134 yards the other day. My guess is you're not surprised, or are you surprised at how well he's playing in the NFL?
I'm not, man. It's so funny to just see what he looks like and how he's able to do what he does. I mean, I don't think he lifts any weights still. You know, I would see him in college kind of, picking up a 10-pounder, doing a couple curls, and then sliding out. And somehow this man, he obliterates guys. I mean, there's nothing you can do to try to stop him. He's so quick. He just knows how to run routes in a way that it's unstoppable. It's like, I'm going to do everything I can to get to this spot. Derek's going to throw it right there, and everything in between, I don't know. It might change from play to play. And so it's so fun to watch him, man. I remember back the first time I ever saw Hunter was actually way back in the summer of like 2014, maybe 13. And we're in summertime, we don't wear like necessarily team issued stuff, for skills and drills, or at least all the same. So everybody's out there in purple and orange. It could vary what it actually is. And, there's support staff out there as well, like trainers, medical folks, all these different things. And so Hunter is holding a water bottle in his hand. I've never met him, never seen him. And I think he's like a water boy. And so I go up to him and I'm just like, hey, can you hand me that? And the way, it wasn't like demeaning, it wasn't mean or anything like that, but it's probably just not the way that you would ask a teammate for it. And so he like hands it to me. And so this other guy like looks at me, he's like, why'd you say whatever? And I was like, what are you talking about? Just ask for some water. And he was like, bro, that's like one of our teammates. And I was like, no, it's not. What are you talking about? What does he play? Is he kicker? And he's like, no, he's a wide receiver. And listen, I'm used to Sammy Watkins, Sharon Peete, DeAndre Hopkins, Martavis, like these dogs. And then I have little Hunter Renfrow. I'm like, what are we talking about here? But he's freaky. I mean, he just is so good at what he does. And of course, later that day, I would go on to see that. And man, you talk about don't judge a book by his cover. He is the epitome of that. And man, what a fun player to watch when he gets it done.
Absolutely. Oh, I can't help but cheer for him. And the big hit he had earlier this year.
Yeah, unbelievable. He's a safety too. Who knew?
Oh, it was incredible. So no, that's a great story. I'm glad I asked you about that. That's funny. That's good stuff. Well, Eric, man, enjoy the weekend, enjoy the bowl season, and then we get the playoffs. So a lot of football still left, and so we'll be watching on ACC Network. And man, keep up the great work. Keep smiling. Keep representing the Lord, man. Appreciate it. And thanks for coming on Unpacking It.
No doubt, Bryce. Thank you so much, man. Love to see all this, bro. Y'all are killing it as well. This is awesome.
Well, I appreciate it. Definitely. Well, there's Eric Mac Lain joining us here on Unpacking It on the Medi-Share guest line.